Ahoy, mateys! Welcome to Module 3, Unit 3, Family Tree Views. Since we've been starting our family history course, we have been using the landscape view. This is my preferred way of searching, but there are other options you can use as well. If you go up to landscape and click on the triangle, you can open up a drop-down and let's click on portrait. This is a portrait view. Now if you click anywhere in the gray area and hold your mouse down and drag, you can move it anywhere you want, just like in landscape view. This is a fun way to show family members some of your ancestors by being able to view the pictures. Now if you click on any of these names or images, you'll be able to pull up the pop-up box and click on person, and this will go into their personal identification page. This isn't my preferred way of doing family history, but it's definitely another option. Now let's go back and go to the next view. The next is fan chart. This is a fan chart view. Now it starts with your ancestor in the center that you're focusing on. Now below him you will find the spouse. So whoever the center is, the spouse will be underneath, and they will have kind of a mini chart. Now with Wilfred Isaac Lewis in the center, first we have his parents, Isaac and Althea, and then on the left we have Isaac's, Morley's parents, and then James's parents, Annie's parents, and then Sarah Scepter's parents. And so that's how it goes out into a fan view. Now you can hover over any of these people, click on them, and then go to their personal page by hitting person. You can also click view tree and put them in the center. Now this is another ancestor in the center, and here we can see the holes or the missing ancestors we need to still find. So this is a great way to see where your holes are and where to start. If you click on these arrows on the side, it will just shift the information on the bottom since we have kind of a mini fan version here. It will slide those ancestors back and forth between the two sides. Now if you want to put Sarah in the center, you would just click on the fan chart icon and she would be moved into the center. Her husband would be flipped and put on the bottom. And so each person has that icon below their name as well. So you can either click that and it will push them right to the center, or click on their name and view tree, and that will do the same thing. So using the icons is definitely faster. And all you need to do is just put your mouse right over that section where the date is. And that's the fan chart view. Let's go to the top left, click on that triangle, and let's go to the last view, descendancy. Now here, the person, Sarah Hall, is our center person, or the person our focus is on, and she is at the top. Below her is her husband, and then her children below him. If you click on Sarah or anybody on there, you will be able to see their information pop up, and then click tree to move them to the top. Now as we scroll down, we see a list of all the children, and on this view you can't click on the gray area and drag like the fan chart. You just have to use the scroll bar on the side to move. Now we're going to click on options, and you can take off portrait view, which makes that slim down a whole lot, or add it back. Now when I'm using descendancy, I'd rather not have those portrait views there so I can get more information shown. And then I'd suggest, under options, I'd suggest clicking on all your search hints. Now when you look at it, you'll be able to see all the icons that will give you hints to records or missing information or something needs to be corrected. At the top of Sarah's name, you'll see expand. If you click on it, you can then go back even further and pick another ancestor, select them, and then they will appear on the top with their spouse underneath and their children from there. If you click on any of these blue icons, this is a record hints, and it will tell you that there's a possible record that you can look at. We're going to show details, and then we can analyze to see if this needs to be attached to the record or not, and we would review and attach those sources. And then below, it's just another kind of question or thought that there should be children here, or there might be, and for you to look at it. And you can dismiss that or just leave it. So we're going to go back. If you use these gray arrows, it will open up more ancestors. So this is Joshua's wife and his children, and each gray arrow is going to pull up another spouse with children. And that will just keep on going until you don't have any other ancestors in family tree. This is a great way to see all your descendants in family tree and find those missing cousins. So each of the different views have a unique way to look at your tree and give you other ideas on where to start and find more information. Now, if you wanted to add a child, you would click on these plus buttons on the left side of the name and then add children to the couple. At the bottom right, there is this light bulb. If you click on it, it will give you some quick tips on exactly what you're working on that page. So if you wanted to see a video on the descendancy view and navigating it, it'll just give you a short clip on how to do that with a little explanation. And that's always down there on the bottom of every page on FamilySearch. Now at the top, under generations, you can click 1, 2, 3, or 4, and that will just open up those generations for you automatically. Instead of going through and using those gray arrows, it'll just open up however many generations you tell it to. Now we just click those gray arrows and all those will disappear. This is a great way to look at cousins and organize it, get a kind of a bird's eye view of what kind of questions might be asked next or what kind of hints or records we should be searching for. And so check out Descendancy View. It's a great tool to use. When you are just starting with FamilySearch, my one advice is to stay within the 1800s. I know we get really excited when we see all these holes in our great-great-great-grandparents and we want to go find them and find those records, but the records are a lot more difficult to understand, to read, or to find when we get into the 1700s and further back. And so if you'll stay in the 1800s and look for ancestors in the United States first and get really familiar with understanding not only how to record search, but how to think through the process of how to find those records, you will have a lot more success. And you will have the motivation to continue on through those harder parts as you get back further into more generations and harder records to find. So, advice, stay in the 1800s where we have the most records, and stay in the United States and get really familiar. Find cousins. If you already have all your grandparents for 5 generations, then you're going to dig deeper and go laterally to find aunts, uncles, cousins, in-laws, and dive into that way. I've been working on the cousins for about 10 years and just have found hundreds of cousins related to me. And so that's just going laterally and doing the descendancy idea of finding those cousins and staying within the 1800s. All those names have been found pretty much within the 1800s. So those are some of the views that you have options to use on Family Tree. So your homework for this lesson is to go ahead and go through the different views, try the landscape, the fan chart, the descendancy, and see what you like about them, see what you don't like about them. Hop on over to the Facebook group page. Let us know your opinion, what some of the things you're finding on those views, and then join us for our next lesson.